Hey there! So a lot of you are project managers and you're on this website because you've heard a lot about this Agile thing and you're trying to figure out, oh, if all these Scrum Masters are coming along, then what does that mean for my job? Don't worry, okay? There's lots of room for Scrum Masters and lots of room for project managers. You have a job, your job is fine. It may change. What you do may change, but from my perspective, all it has done for me is get me out of the weeds of the trivia and pulled me up higher, a trivia from my perspective on a project per level, and pulled me up to a higher view of the project. It gets me out of some of the day-to-day issue tracking and troubleshooting. So your job is safe as a project manager. You have lots of different directions you can go, and you can Google out there and check out what different people have to say about this. I'm actually going to have a guest speaker on one of these podcasts, and he is a project manager who has gone from just doing project management to being a product owner, right? In Agile, we have lots of different roles. Scrum defines 3 specific roles. One is the Scrum Master, one is the team, which is everybody else. It's not the Scrum Master, or this other one, which is the product owner. The product owner is basically, in Six Sigma, they call it voice of the customer. It's that person who represents the voice of the customer. And what he did was, because he was used to, and I haven't interviewed him with this, so I'm going to back that off and say, not he did, but what typically happens when people move to that role is they are comfortable as a project manager managing the requirements and the scope of a project. And if you look at the role of the product owner, that's really kind of what they do. They manage the backlog. They keep that prioritized and keep the requirements in there. We call them stories in Agile instead of requirements, but really they're the same thing, just at a higher level. And they interact with the customer. Well, that's what project managers do a lot. And they drive what happens next in the project. That's what a project manager traditionally does. So that's one very clear place for a project manager to go. Another really clear place for a project manager to go is to do project management. Really, you can keep doing what you've been doing. But what's going to happen is you're going to find that on the smaller projects, they don't need you as much as they did, right? And that's a good thing. I would think that as a project manager who's growing in their business and growing as a professional, you would want to manage challenging work. And you don't want to manage projects that are really tiny. And Scrum, for example, as one method of Agile, but it's common to Agile, Scrum says, you want to have somewhere between 7 and 10 people on your team. Well, that's pretty small. And as a project manager, I don't want to manage projects that are 7 to 10 people. I can't remember the last time that I managed, well, I can remember the last time that I managed a project that was that small, but it was a project recovery. And they didn't need me to manage the project, they needed me to manage the recovery of the project, which is a little bit different. But actually managing a project that's 7 to 10 people, I don't know what I would do from a project management perspective. What I would wind up doing is basically what a Scrum Master does. Remove impediments, get the team motivated, and just those kinds of day-to-day things that the Scrum Master does. As a project manager, what I do is I coordinate teams of Scrum teams, right? So typically what I have is somewhere between 2 at the small side to 7 or 10 Agile teams that are working to deliver a large program. Each of those little teams can be considered a project by itself, and then from a program level, I, as the project manager, coordinate all that work across those things, as well as with other organizational entities, right? So there's other projects, there's the people in the server operations group, or the network operations group, or whatever the different teams are that are helping you deliver this product, this service, or whatever this offering is that you're doing to this program for, these projects underneath, you need to be up here helping that organization achieve the goal. As well, when you've got that many teams working together down on this level, there's going to be cross-team things that come up that the first line of attack is they should try and resolve it within themselves. But if they can't resolve it between themselves, it comes up to you, right? And then that's where your role is to help them come up with solutions and compromise and make decisions. Maybe you need to talk with the product owner to get a decision out of this, but they should be able to talk to the product owner as well. But if they can't really get a decision made, that's where we work. That's our best space, right? So to me, Agile and Scrum and all of these, Kanban and all this stuff that's new is really very exciting. It's where I want the industry to go. It's what I want things to be moving towards, because without moving and changing, we're dying, right? If you're not growing, you're dying. That's a fact. Look at anything that's living, it's growing, it's changing, or it's decaying and dying. So if we are not growing and changing as project managers in our profession, then we are going the opposite direction, and I don't want to go there. So let's move the industry forward. Let's get on the front lines and encourage Scrum and encourage Agile and encourage Kanban, because that doesn't get rid of opportunity. It creates opportunity for you to do more interesting, more exciting, more fun work. That's where I want to be. Thank you.